At the top of Reservoir Road, an aged power station sits, awaiting replacement. Stanley Power Station B was the name given to it when on the 19th of May 1973 it was opened for service by the then Governor, His Excellency E.G. Lewis. 5 decades on from the opening ceremony, and much of the workmanship from this era continues to power the city of Stanley today. In acknowledgement of this anniversary, MLAs and FIG officials made a surprise visit to Stanley Power Station last Friday.
I'd like to tell you how grateful all the MLAs are that you do such an amazing job of keeping it all going, and I'm sure the whole population is as well. You're one of the very primary services in the city of Stanley.
But as staff were presented with their cake, an acknowledgement of efforts made, a bitter undertone lingered. The diesel engines, a clamorous reminder of what is an ageing power station fraught with several challenges in 2023.
I think I feel quite bittersweet about the occasion, if I'm being honest. I think sweet because it's absolutely right that we give our thanks to the 22-strong team that keep the power going for Stanley day and night and recognise the fantastic job that they do. But it's also a little bit bitter because we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of a power station, that is a priority to replace.
Well, it certainly is a milestone, but it's not something we're celebrating. It's unfortunate it's become a museum. It's slightly embarrassing that we're having to still operate this. We need a new power station as soon as possible. I don't really know where we are in that process anymore. It's been going on for 5 years. I know we've got some engines purchased up in Norway, awaiting a power station to put them in. Obviously there's priorities for capital funds and we are where we are on that priority list. But we certainly need a new power station as soon as we can.
After a series of engine failures in May 2015, severe concerns were raised in relation to the continuity of power supply in Stanley. As a result, a feasibility study was later undertaken in July 2016, from which the government decided that a new fit-for-purpose power station was to be built. At this point, it was originally anticipated that the project would take 4 to 5 years to complete. But after several delays, no such power station has yet been delivered.
I think in this case, because we were in the design phase or the scoping phase of what we want to build, that is where our biggest challenges lied. Originally, what we thought we wanted, the cost came out too high and we had to reduce the scope, we had to increase the scope, and then we came to a place where we had something that's sort of acceptable, but it was still expensive. So it's just defining the scope and getting to a point where we all agree on what exactly we want to build and that it is within a good budget, that is affordable, that has taken most of the time and caused a little bit of this delay.
Is there any specific sort of date on when the building of the actual new power station might take place, or where in the timeline we are till we get that point?
Well, my understanding is that the project should start within the next year.
In the Legislative Assembly, I think it was in February this year, it was said that the concept designs were due to be completed by the end of March. Has that all been finalised now?
That's nearly completed. We haven't quite seen those yet, but I'm expecting those very soon for MLA approval.
How comes they haven't been completed just yet?
The work on it has to be a very high standard, and this is one of the most crucial bits of infrastructure for the Falklands for the next 50 years, I guess. So, it's not something you can rush.
There's no doubt that 50 years of service marks a significant milestone. For at least half a century, it has been the continued efforts of the power station staff that have kept the lights in Stanley running. The new power station may seem like a distant glow in the darkness, but hopefully, once here, it will be able to sustain the power of Stanley for the next 50 years to come.